Okay, so for today's annoyance of the day, I have lost the little clicky remote control thing that starts and stops filming. So after every single clip today or moving the camera, I'm gonna have to run up to my camera and hit the button manually, which very first world problem, but also uniquely Lyndsay problem, I feel like. Hey guys, welcome back to another one, and we are here to film our February spin wheel TBR video. I am so excited. There haven't been any major changes to our wheel this month, except for, of course, to like update the series I'm in the middle of, or new series that I started, or things like that, just to like update the wheels. But there haven't been any like major structural changes, no additions, no subtractions, nothing like that. However, I got a couple of comments after last TBR that I really, really liked, where people said that they watch my TBRs every single month, but even though I do like 95% of my reading in challenges, so I kind of just always make the assumption that you guys know which ones that I picked up off the TBR. I got a couple of comments that people said they don't always do a great job of keeping up with my reading challenges, which is like, fair enough, I get it. I hardly have time to do all the things I need to do as well. So they asked if at the beginning of my TBR videos, I could kind of remind people of last month's TBR and then confirm which books I read and what I didn't have time to get to. So let's go ahead and start out by doing that. Okay, so right up here, I'm going to put the books from my January TBR that I did not have a chance to get to this month. That was Heartless Hunter, The God of Endings, The Senator's Wife, Reckless, the Lauren Roberts one, Spells for Forgetting, The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore, Fallen Stars, The One, Butcher and Blackbird, Cinder, and Beautiful Disaster. Now, I know that that seems like a lot of books I didn't get a chance to get to, but I had 21 books on my TBR for January, which is insanely impossible to do. So there were a lot of books that I wasn't going to be able to get to. But the good news is, if we're being glass half full, guys, here are the books that I did get to. This month I read Onyx Storm, The Fine Print, If I Have to Be Haunted, Expiration Dates, House of Beating Wings, Reckless, the Elsie Silver one, The Naturals, Strange the Dreamer, and An Ember in the Ashes. And I am 57% of the way through Bad Summer People. And we have a rule here on this channel that if you get past 50% of a book, it counts. So if you read 50% of the book, you can go ahead and count it as done by the end of the month, especially since I'm filming this with a couple of days left to the month. So I'll definitely be finished with it. Also, if you read 50% of the book and decide that it's not for you and you don't like it and you're going to DNF it, I mark it as read on Goodreads and I give myself credit for it because you gave it a good run. You made a good effort. And I think that your effort should be acknowledged. So I'm giving myself Bad Summer People. It will be finished in the next day or two. So on top of those books, I did read a couple of extra books for videos as well, which brought us to a grand total of 13 books read in the month of January. That is also a fantastic reading month. So that means that this month we will be spinning our 13 spins plus our 4 wild spins for a total of 17 total spins. iPad obtained. Let's go ahead and throw our spin wheel up on the screen and we are going to randomize her. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is what she's going to look like this month in February. What am I noticing? Hey guys, we are pretty well randomized. I'm not really seeing any like clumps that stand out to me. Oh, the only thing I did notice is that up in that one corner, the 2 Kindle spins happen to randomize directly next to each other. So it'll be interesting to see if we hit a Kindle spin this month. Okay, so without further ado, let's do spin number 1. I am in such a reading mood the past 2 months. Shelf number 28. That is a romance shelf. It's down here. Let me move the camera. Okay, guys, we have been here before. This is shelf number 28. It is a romance shelf. It has all of my Sarah Adams, Lauren Asher, Elsie Silver, Jessa Hastings, Allie Hazelwood, and all of my Colleen Hoover. There are 34 books on this shelf this month. So, hey, Siri. Pick a number between 1 and 34.
That would be 8.
8, okay. And my kids are sleeping. So let's turn the volume down on you a little bit, Suri. It's a little aggressive. Okay. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What are the chances, guys? So book number 8 is Terms and Conditions, which is book number 2 in the Dreamlands Billionaire series. I actually read book 1, which is the fine print, in January, and I really loved it. So I'm so excited that this was chosen. And the editions of these books, these are just like the standard edition, but they have really pretty artwork in them at the beginning of the chapters. And I just think that's so cool. So very excited about this. Okay, full disclosure, sorry if the angle looked like just slightly different on that one. My battery pack died because I didn't check it before I started recording. So I had to go grab a new battery. So I did move the camera just slightly to swap out the battery, but I swear to God, it was that one. Okay, so we are going to do spin number 2. I hope it's a wild spin. Ask and you shall receive. Okay, so for anyone who's new here, this is my prompt wheel. It is crazy, but this has like 400 or so prompts on it that I'm going to spin it. It's going to give me a random prompt, and I have to find a book on my shelves or on my Kindle that fits that prompt. So let's go ahead and randomizer, not that you can tell, and spin. This thing never gives me like a nice, easy, good prompt. Read a sequel. Okay, so we always choose our wild spins at the back end of the video just because it's easier for me to like fill in the gaps of my TBR if I know what I have. So we are going to do that at the end, which means we are moving on to spin number 3. Another wild would be nice. Please, please, please. Now it's a series spin. Okay, the wheel this month is really saying you need to get this series thing under control because I want to show you this wheel. This is my series wheel, and this is all the series I'm currently in the middle of, and I'm not proud of it. And is it overwhelming? Yes, it overwhelms me as well, but this is a good way to knock it off. So you know what? The wheels are saying February is the month where I'm going to get a couple of these off of my wheel. So let's go ahead and randomize it and spin. So we have a romance, that's a sequel, reading a sequel, and then this. The Traitor Queen. Okay, I'm not mad about this. The Traitor Queen is the second book in the Bridge Kingdom series by Danielle L. Jensen. It is a romantasy. I really enjoyed the Bridge Kingdom number 1, so I'm very excited to move on with that. All right, so spin number 4. We're really cruising through these spins. Spin number 4. So that's 3 spins, 3 series continuances. Shelf number 17. Okay, that is in the other room, so let me move the camera. Okay, I did not realize where shelf number 17 was, but for anyone who's seen these videos before, you know what time it is. Ready? Crazy angle time, it's crazy angle time, doop doop doop. So for anyone who hasn't been here, I do film in my in-law apartment, and right here, right next to us, is my guest bed. So sometimes we are forced to film at kind of crazy angles, but we make it work. So this is shelf number 17. This is strictly hardcovers. It's all romantasy, which I'm loving, and there are 20 books on it. So, hey Siri. Pick a number between 1 and 20.
The answer is 4.
4. 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Oh, guys, I'm a little conflicted about this. Number 4 is The Foxglove King, which is the first book in the Nightshade Crown series by Hannah Witten. I don't really know anything about this book, but I do know that it's been on my shelves for literally ever. Oh, wow. Why is that stunning? This isn't a special edition or anything, but that is, man, that's gorgeous. Okay, I am not going to veto this despite knowing literally nothing about it. I'm excited to see what I think about it. So this one is going on the TBR. Okay, that one is kind of a wild card for me because honestly, I haven't really seen too many people talking about it. So that's interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and do spin number 5. I think it's a little bit older too, but not really. Shelf number 9. That is back in the other room. So let's go ahead and move the camera again. It always does this to me. It always just wants me to run between rooms. I guess I'm the idiot who keeps putting my camera back in the first place, huh? So. Okay, so here we are at shelf number 9. This is like kind of where my romance ends and my fantasy starts right here. So it's more romance, but not really half and half, probably like 70% romance and 30% romantasy. So this shelf has all of my Chloe Walsh. Kind of dying to start binding 13. It has a couple of Marissa Meyers, I think like my Emily Sigmund, what is it? Emily Sigmund something, and Simon Broca, something like that. So there are 23 books, which is my favorite number of all time. Maybe that's a good sign. So, hey Siri. Pick a number between 1 and 23.
A random number between 1 and 23 is 21.
21. Okay. So we're going to count backwards. I won't make you guys count all the way to 21, but 23, 22, 21. Okay, interesting. 21 is Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino. I have never read anything by Renee Carlino, and I don't really know much about this. A Missed Connection, A Second Chance at Love. I think I've heard some decent things about this, and right on the front cover it says a hate love story, which kind of has me intrigued. Have you guys read anything by Renee Carlino? I don't know how to feel about this. I don't think I'm viscerally opposed enough to it to use a veto, so this is going to go on our TBR for February. I don't know if February is, I mean, it's a love story, so I guess it could work. I'm not mad at that one, and maybe if it really is a good love story, February will be a really good month for it. So okay, we are on our next spin. I don't remember whether this is 6 or 7. I think it's spin number 7, so let's go ahead and spin. Our book box spin. Okay, so for anyone who is new here, I recently, and I've heard you, I'm going to do this video. Don't worry, I just haven't had a chance yet. I recently went and looked and evaluated all of the different book boxes that for years I had been a part of, and I was spending like over $300 a month on book boxes. And it's not that I was like opposed to that. I don't mind it. If you love what you're getting, it's even, I would argue, worth it. And I love my special editions. I do collect them. However, on a majority of them, I was no longer even really liking the books that I was getting, or I wasn't, not even necessarily liking, but they weren't exciting me. You know what I'm saying? So I recently went through and I basically canceled like 90% of them. I'm only a member of 2 book boxes anymore. I kept the Fairy Loot Romantasy and the Page and Wick because those were my favorites that like were my ride or dies. Like they never really disappointed me. But this wheel that you're looking at are all of the book boxes that I have paid for and need to read because they are currently just sitting on my shelves, wasting space, not getting used. So let's go ahead and randomize this, spin, and see what book I have to pick from which book box. Oh no. An Owl Crate book. Okay, this was the book box subscription that I canceled first and like the most confidently, because it's not only that I wasn't like in love with what books they were sending me, but also like Owl Crate's books are very specific. They do a lot of the smaller like B format books. I'll show you the difference when I'm picking. But they also, I don't really love the quality of their paper sometimes. I can't describe it. I'm getting a little picky because I was paring them down, but Owl Crate was like one of the first ones that I like very confidently knew that I could get rid of and not be that bummed about. But we're going to pick an Owl Crate book at the end of this video. So that is what it is. Let's go back to our TBR and do spin number, I believe, 8. Oh gosh, of all of the ones, I have probably like one of the least amount of Owl Crate books too. Oh, well that's convenient. Shelf number 8 is right here. Let me just drop the camera a little. Okay, so for once, it took it easy on me and didn't make me lug the camera between rooms and fight angles and all that stuff, because here we are at shelf number 8. This is a romance shelf, which I'm not upset about for the month of February. These cards are getting a little janky. I'm probably gonna have to renew them, but there are 26 books on this shelf. So, hey Siri. Pick a number between 1 and 26.
It's 8.
8, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so number 8 is The Takeover, which is the third book in, is this the Mile High Club series, which I have not started yet, which means we are going to start with book number 1, which is The Do-Over by T.L. Swan. Yeah, the Miles High Club. So I used to know about this. Like, I used to be really intrigued by this series, which is why I bought like books 1 through I think 4. I think I bought the whole series. And that was years ago. It's just kind of been sitting on my shelves. And now, for the life of me, I cannot remember what this book is about. But I did recently see a girl that I follow on Instagram, Taryn, I believe her name is, Taryn Lee Reads. She read this book within the last year and absolutely despised it and did like an entire reel. It might have even been in one of her videos, and hated it, which made me a little less excited about it. But I am going to keep it on the TBR because I do own literally the entire series and I want to see what my opinion is on it. So yeah, it's staying on. Update. I did just take a look at the footage and we were on spin number 7. So this is spin number 8. I could do with another wild. Let's get another wild. I always want wilds. I just think they're fun. Okay, our 25 and 25 wheel, which I did actually change this month. Last month, if you watched January's, it was my 25 and 25 wheel, except I forgot to change it, so it still said 24 and 24. So let's go to our 25 and 25 wheel. And I believe I updated this from last month. I did. Okay, so these, if you don't follow my channel, I did a video, and I do it every single year, of last year I did 24 books I have to read in 2024. This year I did 25 books I have to read in 2025. And these were the ones, I actually knocked 2 of the books off of this list last month in January. I read Onyx Storm and House of Beating Wings. So I read 2 of them last month. Let's go ahead and randomize the books I have left and see which one I'm going to knock off this month. Bonded by Thorns. Ooh, a good like Beauty and the Beast reverse harem spicy book. This was a book from the Fairy Loot Romantasy box, I do believe. I don't think it was adult. I think it was the Romantasy. And I'm very excited to get into this. We will talk more about it at the end. So for right now, let's go do spin number 9. I wouldn't mind doing another one of those. 25. I couldn't tell which it was going to be. Okay, 25 is in the other room. You guessed it. We are moving the camera. Here we are at shelf 25. This is a primarily special edition shelf, and I've peppered in some like romance books as we go. There are 45 books on this shelf. So, hey Siri. Pick a number between 1 and 45.
A random number between 1 and 45 is 33.
33. All right, buckle up because we are counting. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. 33! Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I have been wanting to read this book. This is such a cult favorite in the romance community, and I've heard it is one of the best friends to lovers romances ever written. And Valentine's month, February, what a perfect month to read this. This is absolutely going on the TBR for February. Okay, if you guys have been here before, you know the rule. If I'm already on the floor, we stay on the floor. So let's go ahead and grab our wheel, throw it up on the screen, and we are doing our next spin from the floor. Let's see what it's gonna be. I guarantee you it's in the next room and I'm gonna have to move the camera again. Another 25 and 25. So, okay, what are we learning? It wants us to read sequels, or read some of our series, I should say, and it wants us to really do some damage on this 25 and 25 wheel. And I'm not mad about it. Spin, I'm not mad about it. Oh, that was like right on the cusp of God of Malice, which it's Happy Place. I am not upset about that. Happy Place happens to be right here. I am not upset about that. I am really excited to read another Emily Henry. I think that February is another really great month for this, so I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it. Okay, she's going right up there. We are going back to our spin wheel. We are screen recording, waiting the 3 seconds because we are professionals. And without further ado, let's do our next spin. Wow, we're really going through some series and our 25 and 25 wheel. And another wild. Why is this being so nice to me this month? Okay, so this wants us to spin our letter wheel for our author first name. Here it is. This is just, I think it's all the letters of the alphabet. I think it is. Yeah, X is on there. All the letters of the alphabet. There are some that I'm probably not going to be able to work with, but we will cross that bridge when we come to it. We are going to randomize it and we are going to spin, and whatever letter comes up, I have to choose an author with that first letter. Why? Didn't we get this once before? Was it a first or a last name? Why? I really don't think off the top of my head. Do I have any authors with the first name of Y? That's a problem for the end of this video when we pick our wilds. Let's go back and do our TBR. Oh my God. Why? Shelf number 26. Okay, that is right here. Let me just kind of angle the camera down a little bit. Okay, so here we are. We didn't really have to go far. Here was shelf number 25, obviously shelf number 26. This is all romance books. So we are very romance heavy this month, but there are 52 books on this shelf. So hey Siri. Hey Siri. Pick a number between 1 and 52.
The answer is 38.
38. All right. We're counting again, guys. 38. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. 38. The people we meet on vacation, what are the chances that we get back-to-back Emily Henrys? Oh my gosh. Okay, we are going to put the people we meet on vacation right after Happy Place on our TBR. I estimate that I have about 700 books in my library currently. What are the chances that on back-to-back spins we got 2 Emily Henrys? What are the chances of that? I don't think very mathematically good. So, okay, this is spin number 13, which means this is going to be the last spin of our TBR spins before we go into our 4 wild spins. So let's see what it's going to give us. I'm like reeling about that. We are going to be knocking off a lot of Emily Henry. Shelf number 6. I believe that is a romance shelf as well, and it's in the other room, so let's go check. Hey guys, this was almost another crazy angle, but luckily for you, I'll be sparing your ears, so we don't need to sing our song. But we got one shelf closer, because right one shelf below would have been another crazy angle, but I was actually completely incorrect. This shelf is where my mystery thrillers end and my literary fictions begin. It is pretty much 50-50, but this shelf does have my Stephen King's, and then it kind of goes into my literary fictions. Honestly, guys, of all of these, this might be where we get our veto, because I am absolutely 100% confident that I am not feeling a Stephen King this month. So let's see. There are 23 books on this shelf. Hey Siri. Pick a number between 1 and 23.
A random number between 1 and 23 is 6.
I am almost positive we're in some dicey territory there. So 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, okay. Okay. Am I thrilled about it? No. But am I upset about it? Also no. Number 6 is The Island by Natasha Preston. This actually was a mystery thriller that seems really short, really quick to read, and I was really intrigued about. So I'm not going to veto this one. This is going to go on our TBR, and it also breaks up the romance and romantasy, I think, with a thriller. Mystery thrillers are not my favorite genre, but I think this one I might have a chance of liking. So of all the wacky ways that mystery thriller / literary fiction shelf could have gone, I'm not that upset about The Island. I'm really not. Okay, so now we are going to begin our wild spins. This is our wild spin wheel. All this is, it has all of our wild spins that could come up on our regular wheel doubled twice. And we're just going to spin just kind of, this gives me a little flexibility on my TBR every single month to kind of allow me to mood read a bit. So let's go ahead and randomize it and spin it 4 times. We pick all of our wilds at the end. So right now we're just going to be figuring out what exactly I'm spinning. An emoji spin. Okay. I have a love-hate relationship with this wheel because on the one hand it's cool, but on the other hand it's evil and it's never nice to me. So right here we have our wheel that has almost every emoji that's currently available on the standard Apple products on it. And we are going to spin it and we are going to have to pick a book that correlates as well as we can to that emoji. We do give ourselves a little bit of creative license here because they are almost always damn near impossible to match. So let's go ahead and see what obscure emoji it gives me this month because it's never easy. Is that, oh, it's a moon. Okay. Okay. It is the dark, like full, what is it, eclipse moon? Okay. Wait. I feel like that's not that bad because I already have a couple of ideas in my brain of where I'm going with this. Okay, so that was spin number 1, a full moon eclipse. Oh, my brain is kind of turning on that one. Okay, let's go back to our wild spins and do our wild spin number 2. There are so many directions we could go with that emoji. A character spin. Hey guys. I've got some bad news about this. Listen, it's bad news. It will be fixed. We're not going to panic. But my husband actually borrowed my iPad to bring to work because his was, I think his battery was dead or something on his. And he accidentally X'd out of my Harry Potter character spin and deleted it. Don't panic. I have everything saved. However, reformatting that particular wheel does take about 40 minutes and I just did not have time to sit down and redo it. So I am making a solemn vow to you that this month I will be doing a Harry Potter Picks My Reads whole entire reading video, okay? So it will be done this month, but I am going to go ahead and respin because the character wheel is currently not available. So pretend like that didn't happen. I'm being honest with you, right? I'm being honest. But we can't do it. Okay, so we are going to spin our letter wheel again for our author last name. So let's see, we have to pick with a first name of Y for our other one and a last name, don't do it. Okay, last name of Q. Okay, first name of Y. Last name of Q. We're going to make it work. Okay, okay. Wild spin number 3. The only other one that might be a little bit difficult is a family pick because my kids are asleep. So hopefully that one doesn't come up too. A book box spin. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and spin our book box again. Okay, don't give me owl crate. Give me something better. Afterlight. Okay, so if you're unaware, Afterlight is like a branch of Illumicrate, except it's only romance books. So we'll be picking an Afterlight romance book. I could do that. Okay, spin number 4. No character spin, preferably not a family spin. We can do a Kindle spin. Okay, get ready to be totally overwhelmed by this next wheel. This is my Kindle spin. I have like 1,400 books on my Kindle and a good like 85% of them are currently on this wheel. It is insanity. It is overwhelming, but man, is it a good selection. So not that it really matters because you can't tell. Let's go ahead and randomize it and spin. There's some true nonsense on this Kindle though. Here beside the rising tide. I don't even know what that is. Okay, let's put down the iPad really quick and let's figure that out. Here beside the rising tide, let's figure out what in the holy heck that even is. Kindle. It could be an ARC too. Let's check Kindle first. Okay, here beside the, oh, okay, found it. What is this? It is an ARC. Okay. Here Beside the Rising Tide. Okay, this is the book, Here Beside the Rising Tide by Emily Jane. What is it about? A romance author takes a trip to her childhood beach home, but her summer is upended by the startling return of a deceased childhood friend, newfound love, and sea monsters? Okay. We're gonna keep it on, but this is definitely a wild card. But the point of the wild spins is to push me to read books that I wouldn't necessarily have chosen. This could be my new favorite book, right? So we're going to keep it. And now comes the hard part of actually choosing the books off of my shelves. It's the hard part, but it's also the really fun part. So according to my notes, I have to pick a sequel from our prompt spin, an Owl Crate book, and an Afterlight book for our book box spins. Author with the first name of Y, author with the last name of Q, a moon emoji book. That's it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 books. Where do we start? Okay, I think the two most up front are the Owl Crate books and the Afterlight books. So let's go and pull those and come up with a couple options.
Face to face in this trashy bar. Another glass and I am going places. Makes me laugh about the irony of everything. I like the way you're thinking. I don't really care about the music on the dance floor. I don't really mind. All the smoke is in the bathroom. I don't care at all, baby. You got my attention.
We are back from choosing for our Owl Crate book and our Fairy Loot book. We have a couple of options for both. Let's talk about the Owl Crate first. So the first book I pulled that I have from Owl Crate is Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli, aka The Crimson Moth. I think if you're pretty much anywhere but the United States, I'm pretty sure. This is a witch and a witch hunter romantasy. I have had this on my to be read list so many times and I've just never gotten to it, but I've really wanted to. It is a gorgeous edition. It says, "This is a game, it's only pretend." And it has the beautiful edges. I'm going to be honest with you. I remember when I got this one, I was so excited that it was going to be a Heartless Hunter. And then I got this and I was kind of like, that's it? It's just like green sprayed edges and some rose paper. I just wasn't super in love with it. And that was yet another reason why I canceled Owl Crate. And once again, it's B format. So while I have you, let me explain what that means for anyone who doesn't know. So there's different sizes of books in the publishing industry, okay? Here, the second Owl Crate book that we have is What the River Knows. Okay, we've talked about this by Isabel Ibanez. This is a ancient Egyptian fantasy adventure story that I've heard is amazing. But this book right here is A format. This is a standard hardcover size. So, I mean, I don't know exactly what it is, but like 7 by 10 or something, whatever the standard hardbook size is. This is B format. So it's the smaller books, like the tinier little books that are shorter and thinner. And Owl Crate does a lot of B format books. And they're not my preferred way to read a book. I prefer the actual full-size books. So Owl Crate was doing, I mean, they do kind of like a good mixed bag. Some of them are B format, some of them are A format, but I just wasn't always in love with their designs. They were super hit or miss because you get one like this that's just kind of boring, and then you get one like this, which is just literally stunning. Like just the most stunning book with the most gorgeous end papers and a naked hardcover design, a reverse dust jacket. And they were just 2 inconsistent for me, and I didn't love it, which was one of the many reasons why I pretty confidently canceled them. But here's 2 out of the 4 books, Heartless Hunter and What the River Knows. The other 2 that I grabbed was Alex E. Harrow's The Starling House. This is a mystery thriller, paranormal haunted house, I believe. I just think that this edition is really pretty. I mean, did it absolutely wow me? No, but this is significantly different from the other ones I have. So it has pretty end papers, a pretty designed naked cover. So this one was okay, but yet another example of being hyped for the book, but kind of underwhelmed by the special edition design. So on the back it says, I dream sometimes about a house I've never seen. So paranormal haunted house. And last but not least, I grabbed To Kill a Shadow by Catherine Quinn. Author last name Q. Okay, we're going to discuss it now, but I have stored the fact that her last name begins with a Q. Okay, so it says, never lower your eyes in the face of death. I am pretty sure this is a YA romantasy, I think. It says, defy the night. Jude Maddox knows nothing of love or even light. He knows only his grim duty as the hand of death to lead the knights of the eternal star into a land filled with nightmares and certain demise. It's only when he sees her, a young woman with wild amber eyes, who's as fierce, defiant, and swift as the shadow beasts themselves, that he feels the warmth of life in his blood. Once again, this is another B format, but it does have the purple edges and it does have some reverse jacket artwork. But yeah, not to beat a dead horse here, but yeah, just kind of underwhelming. So staring at my 4 options, Starling House, Heartless Hunter, What the River Knows, and To Kill a Shadow, I'm immediately going to eliminate Starling House. I'm just not feeling February as like a paranormal haunted house month. I don't know why, but that one's just not grabbing me. And similarly, as much as I do really want to read What the River Knows, it's not calling to me this month. I'm much prioritizing the other 2, or like much more drawn to the other 2. And if we're being really honest, Heartless Hunter. It has to be on here. I am so excited to read this book, and it was on my January TBR and I couldn't get to it. I just ran out of time and I just was begging. I was like, please give me a second chance because I really want to get to this. And this is my second chance, on top of the fact that if I wanted to, this could be my author last name Q. So I think the only smart choice is Heartless Hunter as our Owl Crate book. And that brings us to our 4 options for our Afterlight books. So let's talk about those. So the first one I grabbed is an author that I've had kind of a contentious relationship with, and that's Tessa Bailey. This is Fangirl Down. This was her foray into kind of like sports romance. I know the main male character is a really grumpy golfer, and the main female character, I believe, is this really bubbly, kind of ditzy assistant. And that's kind of the problem I've run into with Tessa Bailey's writing, that all of her main female characters are so stupid and like slapstick comedy people. It doesn't like click with me most of the time. I set myself up for failure with Tessa Bailey because the first book I read of hers was What Happened One Summer and Hook, Line, and Sinker, and literally loved them because I contend to this day that that is her strongest work. That is her best work. I thought I loved her and then bought everything she ever wrote, and I've keep trying to read her and love her, and I just haven't liked anything else I've picked up by her, but now I own them, so it is what it is. So like I said, this is a golf assistant book, but oh my gosh, once again, Afterlight does all B format, which is why I canceled it, on top of the fact that they started choosing books I wasn't that excited about. But this edition is really beautiful, and one thing I will say for Afterlight, all of their book designs are super different from like the traditionally published books, right? So every once in a while, what you'll find with these book boxes is you'll get the book and all they've done is like changed the colors of the cover. So you could literally go to Barnes & Noble and get a version of it in purple, and then they ship you a book and you're like, it's blue. And you're like, awesome, that was $40. So one thing I did appreciate about Afterlight was all of their books were very, very, very different from the traditionally published books for the most part. And if they were pretty similar, they really went wild on the sprayed edges. And also the books themselves, most of them have really, really cool details on the naked hardcovers. So this one says Wells Bells with like a golf flag. What is that called? A putting green. I don't golf, guys. My husband does, but I don't. So like I said, a little grumpy man golf book. I also grabbed At First Bite by Olivia Dade. I know nothing about this book, but check out those sprayed edges with the little strawberries. I absolutely love those. The artwork's really cool. And one other thing that Afterlight did was digitally printed naked hardcovers. And I always thought that was really cool. So sometimes, like, this is a classic example of one of the ones that I'm pretty sure this cover is really, really similar to the traditionally published version, but what you got was the really cute sprayed edges and the digitally printed actual naked cover, so I was okay with that. This says, if living well was the best revenge, Athena intended to be the most joyful woman alive, and all her happiness, she hoped Dr. Matthew Vine, the freaking third, choked on it. At First Bite. I'm pretty sure I think they're neighbors in this book. Next up, we have arguably one of my favorite designs that Afterlight ever did, and that was Cross the Line by Simone Soltani. This is a F1, I believe. It might be NASCAR. I don't know, race car driver, but wait until you check these sprayed edges. Are you ready? Oh my God. How cute is that with the little race cars on the racetrack? I loved that. I thought that was so pretty, and it does have really cool character art that almost looks like Polaroid pictures on the inside, and then the gorgeous, literally gorgeous digital hardcover. How beautiful is that? So like I said, I don't really know much about it, but I know it is a Formula One. Okay, Formula One driver Dev Anderson's career is on the line. After a social media disaster leaves him with an angry team and sponsors threatening to jump ship, he needs someone to help save his image. At a party in Monaco, he bumps into the woman who can fix it all. There's just one problem. She's his best friend's little sister. And okay, maybe there's another problem. He kissed her last year and hasn't been able to stop thinking about her since. Okay, so it's an F1 driver best friend's little sister trope. Okay. And then last but not least for our Afterlight books, I grabbed Checkmate by Ali Hazelwood. This cover with these cute chess sprayed edges. Adorable. So it says, his arms close around me, his lips speak into my hair, his chest rises and falls against my ear, and I know it in my gut, like I know chess, that this is where I'm meant to be. Once again, don't know much about this, but I know that I think this was like a spicy one for Ali Hazelwood. I'm almost positive, or was this might have been YA. Apparently I know nothing about this book, but I'm going to go ahead and surmise that it has something to do with chess players. So once again, here are all four of my options, and we're going to do this by process of elimination. So this is a tough one, but right off the bat, I'm going to eliminate At First Bite by Olivia Dade. Of the four, just not grabbing me as much as the other ones, and this is where we get really tough. Okay, Tessa Bailey, Simone Soltani, Ali Hazelwood. Oh God, what do I do? Because okay, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Tessa Bailey, haven't been in love with her stuff, but I've never read a golf romance before. So I think the uniqueness is making this one a toughie for me. I've also never read a chess book, but honestly, I think I'm going to go ahead and eliminate Check and Mate. Not because I don't want to read it, because I do. The other two are just grabbing me more this month. So Cross the Line and Fangirl Down. God, the two, in my opinion, cutest additions. F1 best friend or golf. What do I do? What would you guys do? I'm having such a hard time with this. Okay. I think I'm going to regret this decision with Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. I already know I'm going to regret this decision, but that's okay. There's something about this book that's just calling to me this month, and I want to give it a try, but I always struggle with Tessa Bailey. But that's okay. Every book is a new start. We're going to try it. All right, back again. I just desperately searched my shelves for any author with the first name of Y, and I don't have any. So we are going to have to respin for author first name because Y is not happening. So let's see what other crazy letter they're going to give me for this because it can't take it easy on me. Author first name N. I feel like we can make that work. Okay, author first name N. That's what we're going with now. So author first name N, author last name Q. I tried to make it work, guys. I really did. Let me tell you something about picking books based on author first name last name. You think it's going to be super straightforward and easy, and it never is. It's much more challenging than you would think. So let's first start with the author with the first name that begins with N. We have three physical books and 2 Kindle books. So the first one I grabbed is an oldie but a goodie. It has been on TBRs before and it's an older book, but that is Scythe by Neil Shusterman. This is a dystopian young adult fantasy. I don't think there's any romance in this, but it's about our main character who is an apprentice to death in a world where they have kind of cured disease and death and ailments. And the only way that you die is if a reaper, I think he is, or a scythe comes to collect you. Next up, I grabbed The Curse of Ophelia by Nicole Platania. I don't know anything about this book. It says, the war is over, the curse is lifted, Malachi is gone. It's been 2 years since Ophelia has seen the boy she loves. When a treaty was signed ending the war and lifting the curse on Mystique warriors, Malachi left to attempt the sacred ritual known as the Undertaking. He never returned and the Undertaking was forbidden. Ophelia's world crumbled around her. Since then, she has pursued a fruitless search for answers. When the deadly curse resurfaces only on her, Ophelia finds solace in the idea that when she dies, she may finally be reunited with her lost love. Then a messenger appears telling her that she alone may be the one to save her people. With her closest friends by her side, Ophelia embarks on a race against death. All right, I'm going to be completely honest with you. This is long and drawn out and definitely not gripping me. I would be shocked if this is the one I pick. I don't even really know why I own this, to be honest with you. This might have been sent to me. Next up, I have A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. This is once again YA about a magical university that I believe is trying to kill its students. So it says, I decided that Orion Lake needed to die after the second time he saved my life. Everyone loves Orion Lake, everyone else that is. Far as I'm concerned, he can keep his flashy combat magic to himself. I'm not joining his pack of adoring fans. I don't need help surviving the Scholomance, even if they do. Forget the hordes of monsters and cursed artifacts. I'm probably the most dangerous thing in the place. Just give me a chance and I'll level mountains and kill untold millions, make myself the dark queen of the world. At least that's what the world expects. Most of the other students in here would be delighted if Orion killed me, like one more evil thing that's crawled out of the drains. Okay. Also don't know if that's gripping me, but I've actually, unlike The Curse of Ophelia, which I've heard literally nobody else read, I've heard quite a bit about this. And I know that, I believe it was it Rachel Catherine that read it and really liked the Scholomance trilogy? So a little bit more intrigued by this one. I could also go with The Mirror by Nora Roberts. It says, when Sonia McTavish inherits the huge Victorian mansion on the coast of Maine, she has no idea that the house is haunted. The footsteps she hears at night, the doors slamming, the music playing are not figments of her imagination. In her dreams, she sees glimpses of the past. In the present, she finds portraits of brides. And when she has visions of an antique mirror, she is drawn to it, sensing it holds dark family secrets. Then one night, the mirror appears and Sonia glides through this looking glass into the past and sees a bride murdered on her wedding day, the circle of gold torn from her finger. It is a scene that will play out again and again, a centuries-old curse that must be broken and a puzzle she must solve if there is any hope of breaking the curse. A woman inherits a haunted mansion and is drawn to an antique mirror that holds dark family secrets. Okay, interesting. I don't think I ever associated Nora Roberts with this type of book. I don't know why, to me, she used to do like the little naked torso man romances, right? Or was this always her deal? And then last but not least, I could do The Foxhole Court by Nora Sajkovic, I believe is how you pronounce that. It says, Neil Jostin is the newest addition to the Palmetto State University XC team. I did recently hear I don't remember who, talking about this, and it's like a made up sport called XC. So instead of saying like, oh, he plays for the football team or he plays for the baseball team, there's this made up sport in this world called XC that they play for. He's short, he's fast, he's got a ton of potential, and he's the runaway son of the murderous crime lord known as the Butcher. Signing a contract with the PSU Foxes is the last thing a guy like Neil should do. The team is high profile and he doesn't need sports crews broadcasting pictures of his face around the nation. His lies will hold up only so long under this kind of scrutiny and the truth will get him killed. But Neil's not the only one with secrets on the team. One of Neil's new teammates is a friend from his old life, and Neil can't walk away from him a second time. Neil has survived the last 8 years by running. Maybe he's finally found someone and something worth fighting for. Okay, so I've heard this is kind of like toxic drama. I gotta be honest with you guys, I'm not super excited about any of these, but right off the bat, we are going to eliminate The Curse of Ophelia because it might be awesome, but let's just put it this way. When the synopsis bores you, it's probably not the book for you at this particular moment. So we're gonna go ahead and eliminate that. Okay, we're also going to go ahead and eliminate The Mirror by Nora Roberts. Just not feeling that one. And when I read the synopsis, I was just kind of like, I don't know. That's not going to fit this month. So we are down to Scythe, A Deadly Education, and The Foxhole Court. Okay. I also think I'm going to eliminate A Deadly Education. This is just a little bit more serious than I think like if I'm looking at the rest of my TBR for this month, I'm really looking to get into. So let's go ahead and eliminate that. So between Scythe and Foxhole Court, wow, could you get to any more different books? But I'm going to go with The Foxhole Court, not only because I'm intrigued by it, but because I don't think we have a ton, if any. Oh, we do have the golf romance. I was going to say sports romance, but I recently saw this kind of obscure book talked about, and I think that's a sign that maybe I might like it. So I'm going to throw it on our February TBR for our author beginning with N. So then, as predicted, our author last name Q was a little bit complicated, but I managed to come up with 3 books. So we already talked about To Kill a Shadow by Catherine Quinn. So I'm not going to go too far into this, but once again, I believe this is YA romantasy. I could also go with Entangled by Rebecca Quinn. This is book 2 in the Brutes of Bristlebrook trilogy, which followed Ensnared, which was book 1. I read that a couple of months ago. It's a super smutty, kind of like captive, dystopian dark romance, and I really liked it. I'm not going to say much more about this one because I don't want to give away anything that happens in the first book, but if super smutty dystopian books are your thing, this might be it. And last but not least, I found The Baby Dragon Cafe by A.T. Qureshi. I think this is like a little cozy fantasy. It says it's a charming new cozy romance fantasy. It literally just released. I've heard nobody talking about it, but how cute is this cover? The cover alone is making me really excited. It says, when Saphira opens her cafe welcoming pet baby dragons, she isn't expecting it to be quite so hard to keep the fires burning, but her young dragon patrons keep incinerating her furniture. So cute. Which means selling coffee isn't covering all her costs. Local heartthrob Aiden is a gardener though his disobedient baby dragon is a major distraction from his beloved plants. However, Saphira's cafe gives him an idea. He'll ask Saphira to train his dragon and pay her enough to keep the cafe afloat. They know they're the answer to each other's problems, but happy-go-lucky Saphira and gorgeous but grumpy Aiden couldn't be more different. Can they find a way to work together or maybe even ignite some fire of their own? And then actually I really like this because this author listed the tropes. So it says grumpy ex-sunshine, fake marriage, small town, low spice. So very cozy romantasy. So looking at my 3 options, this is another kind of tough one because they're so different. But right off the bat, I am going to eliminate To Kill a Shadow. Just of the other books, just not grabbing me really. So it comes down to a smutty dark romance and a cozy low spice dragon book. It's got to be Baby Dragon Cafe. Something about, I'm not even like a super cozy reader, but something about that synopsis is just making me smile and I have to know what happens. So we are going to throw in Baby Dragon Cafe for our author last name Q. Okay, next up, let's do our prompt spin, which was to pick a sequel. That should be fairly easy because I'm just going to kind of take a look at my series spin wheel and figure out what sequel I want to go with. Full disclosure, I actually do really want to continue on with the Zodiac Academy. I would be on book 2, but I remember literally nothing that happened in the first book. So I feel like I have to reread the first book because I read it a while ago and I was on vacation. I just don't remember what happened. So I think what my first choice would be A Ruthless Fate, which is Zodiac Academy 2, but I'm not going to go with that one. Okay, so I could go with The Fake Out. That one's looking kind of good, like a hockey romance. I could go with Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home. Oh, Jessa Hastings in February. Okay. I could go with The Goal and continue our hockey romance with Elle Kennedy. I could do that. I could do The Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. I really, really liked the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. It was cute. I do already have a cozy on my list this month though, so I don't know about that. I could do The Right Move by Liz Tomford. Oh, that one could be good. I could continue and do Barbarian Mine by Ruby Dixon. I love me some Ice Planet Barbarian series. I could also do Scarred by Emily McIntyre. I read Hooked a couple of months ago, or was it December? And was surprised by how much I loved it for like a dark, fractured fairy tale book. So I could do that one. Okay, so I think those are my options. And of all of them, I know which one I want. Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home. This is not only in my 25 and 25 list, but I'm just dying to jump back into Magnolia Park's world. So I love Jessa Hastings' writing. I'm going to take the opportunity to read book 3 in the Magnolia Park's universe. So that leaves us with the moon emoji. I'm immediately going like Omegaverse, maybe like vampires, but I think it's more Omegaverse. So let me find some books that would fit this. I searched high and low, and I want to remind you guys that the emoji wheel is always the most challenging wheel because it gives me emojis that give me very little to work with. It's just supposed to be a basic idea. So we take some creative flexibility and creative licensing with this one. So it gave me the moon emoji. And I mean, specifically, I guess it's like a dark moon, like an eclipsed moon, but we're just going to go with moon. And the first book I found was When the Moon Hatched by Sarah A. Parker. Obviously, moon. It has a moon on the cover. I have wanted to get into her writing, but this book is freaking me out because it is so polarizing. This book was some people's like best book of 2024 and other people's worst book of 2024, mostly because I've heard the story and the world building is very confusing and very convoluted, but I've heard that you just have to kind of like vibe with it. It says, as an assassin for the rebellion, Rave's job is to complete orders and never get caught. When a rival bounty hunter shatters her world, Rave finds herself captured by the Guild of Nobles, a group of powerful fae. Crushed by the loss of his great love, dragon rider Khan Vagor took the head of the king and donned his melted crown. Now on a tireless quest to quell the never-ending ache in his chest, a clue lures him into the capital's high-security prison where he stumbles upon the imprisoned Rave. Together they seek truths that threaten to unravel everything they knew about their world and each other. Now, obviously it's called When the Moon Hatched, so I'm assuming at some point it's going to have something to do with moons, but that synopsis didn't really seem to fit the moon emoji. Next up, I grabbed A Curse of Blood and Wolves by Melissa McTurnan. This was a fairy loot romantasy pick, and I know it has to do with, I don't know if they're wolf shifters or werewolves, which there is a difference in the Omegaverse. But it says, I want you to chase me, and what do you want me to do when I catch you? It says, can you be drawn to someone you've never met? When Ruby feels the eyes of a stranger in the woods, she knows she should be scared, that she should run away, but she can't. Instead, she feels a thrill, feels drawn to the stranger who follows her in the woods, yearns for his eyes on her every night as she walks home, hoping to hear the crunch of leaves under his feet that signals he's there. Will he ever reveal himself? And it says, a steamy reimagining of Little Red Riding Hood. And I know... Actually, here you go. There's a wolf on the back. I know that this is a wolf shifter book, so I think that would fit the moon prompt. Okay, next up I have Alpha Instinct, which is Moon Shifter Book 1 by Katie Roos. The synopsis says, he ghosted her years ago. Anna Cordona has been a strong leader for the lupine shifters who survived after half her pack was murdered. And tough as she is, her pack is vulnerable to a devious neighbor who wants their land and Anna as his own. So when a ghost from her past barrels back into her life promising protection, it's almost enough to make Anna forget how he walked out on her before and reluctantly accept his offer. I'm not going to say that part. It's Omegaverse stuff. Now he's back. Connor isn't walking away again. Anna has always been his mate, something his wolf accepted long ago, and the only reason he left before was for her own protection. Okay, so like I said, it's Moon Shifters Book 1. So this one, the moon would apply not only to like the werewolf lupine shifter part of the book, but also the series name, which incorporates moon. And last but not least, I grabbed Wolf Girl by Leah Stone. This is book 1 in the Wolf Girl series. And it says, it's an exciting fantasy romance packed with angst, betrayal, and devastating battles. When my parents were banished from Wolf City before I was born, I thought there was no way I would ever live in a pack again. Cuffed with my shifter magic bound, I was forced to go to school with witches and vampires in order to keep my true nature from coming out. Okay, so it's like a magical university setting. Then I met him, Sawyer Hudson. The Alpha's son was visiting the Delphi College for magically banished youth and spotted me. He took one last look at me, and an hour later, I was being pulled out of school, taken into Wolf City, and leaving my parents and everything I knew behind. It is the Alpha's son's selection year, the year he must pick a mate, and every female aged 18 to 22 must be in attendance. I've landed myself in the middle of Werewolf Bachelor, and just when I think I've got a handle on things, Sawyer releases my cuffs, unbinds my magic, and sees what I really am. The problem is I don't know what this creature is that I transform into. It's not an ordinary werewolf, that's for sure. Okay, there's some interesting books in here. If you have dipped your toes into Omegaverse, things get weird sometimes, but like in the best possible smutty way. Okay, so we have 3 Omegaverse and 1 fantasy romance. And honestly, right off the bat, I'm going to eliminate When the Moon Hatched. Not only because I'm just kind of feeling Omegaverse more for this prompt. When I read the synopsis, I don't really think that this incorporated the moon as much, but also because I don't know that I want When the Moon Hatched to be my first Sarah A. Parker. Her first book was To Bleed a Crystal Bloom series, and I kind of want to read that before this. So I think this is just like a timing issue as well as not really fitting the prompt. So we're going to go ahead and eliminate that. So now we have Alpha Instinct, A Curse of Blood and Wolves, and Wolf Girl. Okay, I think I'm going to eliminate Wolf Girl. I actually think that this is spicy. I don't think that this is YA, but for some reason, I don't really want to go into like the werewolf college deal. So we're between A Curse of Blood and Wolves and Alpha Instinct. I think I'm going to go with A Curse of Blood and Wolves. This book has intrigued me since it came in the Romantasy box from Fairy Loot, and I'm into it. I just want to see what it's all about. So this is going on our February TBR for our moon emoji. 17 spins down. What a wild ride, but I'm so happy with the way our TBR turned out. So let's do a really quick recap of all 17 of our spins and what is going to be on our February TBR this month. So spin number 1 got us Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. Like I said, this is the second book in the Dreamland Billionaires series, and it's about 3 brothers, so each of them get their own book, who are inheriting Dreamland, which is essentially this world's Disney World, from their grandfather after his passing. But in his will, in order to inherit the park and the family business, they each were given a task that they needed to accomplish. So this is Declan's book, I do believe. Spin number 2 had us spinning the prompt wheel, which gave us the prompt to pick a sequel, and I chose Magnolia Park's Long Way Home. This is the 3rd book in the Magnolia Parks universe, and I am so dying to jump back into the London Gossip Girl toxic drama. Just the quote on the back gives you a little taste of Jessa Hastings' writing. It says, "I'll wear it like a badge of honor forever that he loved me first, that he loved me at all. Have you ever had a love like that?" Spin number 3 had us spin the series wheel, and we got The Traitor Queen by Danielle L. Jensen. This is the second book in the Bridge Kingdom series, and we read The Bridge Kingdom as one of our homey and homely book club picks for, I forget what month it was, but not too long ago, maybe a couple of months ago, and I really, really liked it. It has one of the coolest worlds because it's based in this world that's a bunch of islands interconnected. It deals with some court politics, but mostly the romance. I want to see where it goes. I'm not going to read the synopsis because it's book 2, but The Bridge Kingdom was very good. Next, we got The Foxglove King by Hannah Witten. I know nothing about this book at all, but it says his eyes were on her. She wasn't sure how she could tell across so much space, but she knew with a pull in her gut and no hint of a doubt that the Sun Prince was staring right at her. In this gilded, gothic, and romantic new epic fantasy series from the New York Times bestselling author Hannah Witten, a young woman's secret power to raise the dead plunges her into the dangerous world of the sainted king's royal court. Court politics, dark gothic romantasy, bring it on. Spin number 5 got Before We Are Strangers by Renee Carlino. Once again, I said I don't know much about this, but it says a missed connection, a second chance at love. And I know it's like, I believe they were in love and then they broke up and hated each other and then they ran into each other again. So it's like a love, hate, love, second chance thing. And I've actually heard some amazing things about Renee Carlino's writing. So we will see what I think. Next up, our book box spin chose an Owl Crate book, and I'm going with The Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli. I think everyone and their mother has kind of heard about this book at this point, but it's a witch and a witch hunter who fall in love. Now, the interesting thing about this book is I think it's technically classified as YA, but from everything that I'm hearing, there's not necessarily like a significant amount of spice. I think there is some spice in this book, but I think it's more that it deals with some pretty mature topics in this book, so I'll be interested to see what I think about that. Spin number 7 chose The Do-Over by T.L. Swan. Technically, it chose the third one, but we're going to go with The Do-Over. This is number 1 in the Miles High Club series, and it says it's about a billionaire playboy that goes incognito on a backpacking trip in Europe, but how long can he hide from love? I'm wealthy, powerful, and able to get any woman I want, so why do I feel so empty inside? In search of a deeper me, I take a sabbatical from my privileged life. 1 year of backpacking around Europe, a new identity, no contacts, and no money. Not a bad plan, I think. Until I get there. A crowded hostel room, body odor, and beer bongs. There are no words for the fresh hell I've landed in. But amid the chaos, I meet my new roommate, Hayden Whitmore. She sleeps in the bed opposite me, and I openly admit to staring at her more than I sleep. Beautiful, innocent, and smart. Not my usual type, but perhaps the perfect woman. There's just one small problem with this divine Miss Hayden. She's totally unaffected by my charm. Nothing is working, and now I've been friend-zoned. What? But the good thing about me is that I'm an incredible problem solver, and I've come up with a diabolical plan. I'm going to slide right in under her friend zone, be the best damn friend she ever had, hold her hand, make her laugh, and spoon with her in bed? Ooh, that gave me the ick. Okay. But now there's another problem. Hayden is the one who's sliding under my skin, and maybe friendship isn't enough. Okay, so didn't love that, but excited to see if I like the rest of it. So spin number 8 gave us Bonded by Thorns by Elizabeth Helen. I'm excited about this one. This is the Fairy Loot? Yeah, Fairy Loot edition. I'm excited about this one. I've heard really good things about it. And I know it's a like reverse harem Beauty and the Beast retelling. It says 4 handsome fae princes, 1 awkward bookworm, an enchanted veil, a beastly curse to break. I've heard really good things about this. I've seen many YouTubers who say that they went into this with like low expectations and it far surpassed what they thought. So I'm excited. Next up, we pulled Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. This book has such a hold on BookTok, BookTube, Bookstagram. This book is like what gets people started in contemporary romance for me. Like I've seen this book talked about probably the most as people's like cult favorite. It says, Macy Sorensen is settling into an ambitious, if emotionally tepid routine. Work hard as a new pediatrics resident, plan her wedding to an older, financially secure man, keep her head down and heart tucked away. But when she runs into Elliot Petropolis, the first and only love of her life, the careful bubble she's constructed begins to dissolve. Once upon a time, Elliot was Macy's entire world, growing from her gangly, bookish friend into the man who coaxed her heart open again, only to break it on the very night he declared his love to her. So, friends to enemies to lovers, I think. And then, in the true randomness that is Lyndsy's Spinwheel TBR, we got 2 Emily Henry books back to back. We pulled Happy Place and People We Meet on Vacation. So I've read Book Lovers, Beach Read, and Funny Story. So besides for her backlist of her older book, like I know she wrote a book called like A Million Junes, these are the ones that I have left. So from what I understand, Happy Place is about a couple who decides to break up, but they have an annual trip, I think, that they take with their like married friends, and they don't want to ruin the trip this year. So they pretend to still be together so that they don't ruin their friend trip, I believe. And then People We Meet on Vacation, I think, is about a wedding party that gets sick with food poisoning, and our main female and main character take the tickets for their honeymoon, I'm pretty sure. I think maybe I'm making that up. Nope, I'm totally making that up. It says, 2 best friends, 10 summer trips, 1 last chance to fall in love. Poppy and Alex and Poppy, they have nothing in common. She's a wild child, he wears khakis. She has insatiable wanderlust. He prefers to stay home with a book, and somehow, ever since a fateful car share home from college many years ago, they are the very best of friends. For most of the year, they live far apart. She's in New York City and he's in their small hometown. But every summer for a decade, they have taken one glorious week of vacation together. Apparently, I just completely made up. Oh, you know what the book I'm thinking of? The book I'm thinking of is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. That's the one where the wedding planner or the wedding gets food poisoning and they go on a trip. Totally different book. That's what I was thinking of. Until 2 years ago when they ruined everything, they haven't spoken since. Poppy has everything she should want, but she's stuck in a rut. When someone asks when she was last truly happy, she knows without a doubt that it was on that ill-fated final trip with Alex. And so she decides to convince her best friend to take one more vacation together, lay everything on the table, make it all right. Miraculously, he agrees. Now she has a week to fix everything. If only she can get around the big truth that has always stood quiet in the middle of their seemingly perfect relationship. What could possibly go wrong? So in fairness, I think I've heard that People We Meet on Vacation is either like beloved or really disliked as like one of her least popular books. So between Happy Place, which I think is one of her most popular books, and People We Meet on Vacation, we are going to figure out exactly how much I love Emily Henry, because it has been a whole lot in the books that I've read. So then we had to spin our author first name wheel, and we got the letter Y. Despite searching every shelf and despite looking through my Kindle, I could not find one book with an author with the first name of Y. So we respun and we got an N, and for that I chose The Foxhole Court. I'm excited about this. I already read the synopsis when we chose it, but I'm very excited about this book. I've heard it's very like high school drama, like very over the top dramatic, but I've heard it's very good. I'm excited to see what everyone's talking about. Next up, we had spin number 13, and that gave us The Island by Natasha Preston. This is going to be the thriller that kind of breaks up my TBR this month if I need it to. And I think this is about a bunch of influencers that get invited to an island that I guess has an amusement park on it. But when they get to the island, things aren't like they seem. Then we had to spin the emoji spin, and we got this moon emoji, and I picked A Curse of Blood and Wolves. As soon as I got that moon emoji, my brain went immediately to something with wolves or werewolves or Omegaverse. So I picked the Fairy Loot Romantasy book that's kind of been sitting on my shelves that I've wanted to read for a while. I already told you guys what it was about, but I could do with some Omegaverse this month. We then had to spin the book back spin again, and I got Afterlight, and I chose Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. Besides for the fact that this edition is absolutely adorable, I really don't know much more. It says it's a super sexy sports romance duology. Oh, a duology with a rom-com about a bad boy professional athlete who falls for his biggest fan. Okay, so I guess our main male character is a grumpy professional golfer, and I thought she was his assistant, but I guess she's a fan, which kind of makes sense because it's called Fangirl Down. Light bulb. So next we spun for our author last name of Q, and I picked Baby Dragon Cafe because it just sounds so adorable, and this cover is kind of what sold me on it because look at it. Next up we spun our Kindle spin and we got Here Beside the Rising Tide. This cover intrigues the hell out of me because first of all, it's beautiful. I think the pink immediately grabs me, but if you look really closely, you can see the roller coaster from a theme park with a little sea monster right next to it. And I want to see how they're going to incorporate these things. But like I said before, it says it's a romance author that takes a trip to her childhood beach home, but her summer is upended by the startling return of a deceased childhood friend, newfound love, and sea monsters. However, that is not all. We have 2 additional books that we have to add. So the first one is Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. I'm reading this as the last book to finish Laini Taylor's works in our buddy read along with Karina Kailani and Dana. So we will be reading Muse of Nightmares. And I've got to be honest with you guys, if you not only watched one of my last videos, but also tuned into our live, I wasn't the biggest fan of Strange the Dreamer. So hopefully this one goes better. And then last but finally not least, we have our February Homey and Homely book club pick. A Homey and Homely book club is a book club I run over on Fable. It's completely free and it's always linked in the description down below. It is such a blast. I think we're at like 360 something amazing readers. We pick a book together every single month. We read it together. It's broken down by the chapters and we discuss it as we go. And the February book pick was Immortal Dark by Tejas Gurma. This edition is gorgeous. I'm so excited to read it. And we picked this because we picked Romantasy and then they chose to pick blindly using emojis. And this one had like a little vampire and a little school emoji. The description says, a lost heiress, a soulless vampire, a secret drenched in blood. Orphaned heiress Kadan Adane grew up far from the arcane society she was born into, where human bloodlines gain power through vampire companionship. When her sister June disappears, Kadan is convinced a vampire stole her, the very vampire bound to their family, the cruel yet captivating Susenyos Sagad. To find June, Kadan must infiltrate the elite Uxley University, where she must survive living with Susenyos, even as he does everything he can to drive her away. It doesn't matter that Susenyos' weakness speaks to Kadan's own violent nature and tempts her to surrender to a life of darkness. She must find her sister and kill Susenyos at all costs. When a murder mirroring June's disappearance shakes Uxley, Kadan sinks further into the ruthless underworld of vampires, risking her very soul. Then she discovers a centuries-old threat, and June could be at the center of it. To save her sister, Kadan must bring Uxley to its knees and either break free from the horrors of her own actions or embrace the dark entanglements of love and the blood it requires. So this is Tejas Gurma's debut novel, and I've been hearing amazing things, so this was an excellent pick by Homey and Homely. So here you have it, guys. Here is our book stack for February. I'm so excited. I think we have a ton of good picks on it, but comment below if you have read any of these and if you liked and disliked them. And then if you've made it this entire time, comment the wolf emoji for A Curse of Blood and Wolves because Omegaverse time in February, I'm feeling it. And then do all the things that you guys are so professional at doing. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye, guys.